Diablo 4 is repeating Path of Exile's monumental mistakes more than a decade later. What are these more than evident mistakes enraging the raucous ARPG player base, and more importantly, will Blizzard actually try to solve them? Well, it's a list that's continuing to pile up faster than Blizzard can unstack, with problem-solving, player-pleasing, and, funnily enough, excuse-making. However, it's all issues we've seen before in titles we know and have played, like Path of Exile, and in titles Blizzard 100% knows quite well, like Diablo 3, the progenitor to Diablo 4, and even World of Warcraft, one of Blizzard's other massive continuously updated properties. With the third season of Diablo 4 out and live, the evident mistakes continue to build up on the pile. So we have plenty to talk about when we try to definitively answer, will Blizzard stop messing up or continue on their current path? Well, we're going to explore exactly that in this video. But before we do, I would like to introduce my first ever sponsor, Into the AM. Into the AM is a swell team of artists and creators, just like myself, who share a common vision: making absolutely wicked clothing. They've been in business since 2012 and were the first sponsor I decided I actually wanted to pursue a partnership with. After testing out their shirts thoroughly in a few gaming sessions, cycles through the washer and dryer, and some extracurricular activities, I can say with great confidence their clothing feels and wears great. I'm a taller dude, so I was skeptical when I first opened the package, but it clasps incredibly well. They have a suite of designs, both modern and fantastical. As you can see, I nabbed a Zeus shirt, as I am a tremendous fan of the king of the Greek gods. You can grab one just like it today for 10% off using the code TALKATIVETRY. The link to check out their shop is in the description and top comment. Any purchases support the channel and are guaranteed to make you look like a Greek god of style. Again, huge shout out to Into the AM for being this channel's first actual sponsor, and for sponsoring this video. But additionally, to all of you, thanks. I couldn't have secured this without you. All right, let's get to it. In a live service game, one of the most important development facets is proper allocation and pipelining of talent and resources. To fail at this is fatal, and it's clear Diablo 4 is dying. The highest quality aspects of a new Diablo 4 season honestly seem to be the cinematic trailers. While the high-end cost of Blizzard cinematics, such as the legendary "By 3 They Come" cinematic, are estimated to cost anywhere between $30,000 to $60,000 per second, these season trailers are definitely of a lesser quality, but might make up the highest chunk of spend allocated to a season, at least from what we've seen after 3 season releases in Diablo 4. Everything else released is lackluster or not ready for release. Additionally, it appears Blizzard is falling into one of the pitfalls grinding gear games experienced during the early days of Path of Exile 1. Back in the day, Triple G used to essentially split into teams. One team would work on the league upcoming, while another team would work on a bigger league to come out after, and yet another would work on a core expansion to the game. What they witnessed was a small league would release with little hype, poor retention, and tiny growth. Next up was the bigger league with decent hype, okay retention, and medium-sized growth. The huge expansion they worked away on would bring lots of new players afterward, but the small league immediately after would see their game shrink. This was to be expected for a primarily PvE game. PvE games flourish with content, while PvP games can sustain themselves without constant new content. Just see Dota 2 or League of Legends for good examples. So, they decided to forego their former pipelining and resource allocation of the past. In retrospect, this was a genius move. They thought, what if we decide to put all our league creation resources into each league we make, instead of ping-ponging between large and small leagues? What would happen to Path of Exile then? Well, they experienced tremendous growth that kept on climbing and climbing, league after league. Breach was the first of this new era, and every league after showcased their perfect PvE game expansion formula. They placed almost all their effort on the next expansion, and it paid off. Blizzard is not doing this. They too have the ancient layout Triple G once did: 2 seasonal teams and an expansion team. Of course, unlike PoE, D4's expansions will also require payment. Currently, they are bouncing between seasonal team releases, splitting their focus. This is a huge problem. It also appears one team might be more in tune with what the player base wants. Already, it's universal that Season 1, Season of the Malignant, and Season 3, Season of the Construct were both far worse than Season 2, the Season of Blood. People did not enjoy Season 1, were much more loving of Season 2, and are already equally filled with distaste of Season 3. The best I'm hearing from large D4 creators and from those who bounce between ARPGs is that Season 3 is incredibly mid, and that might be giving it too much praise, especially given everyone already bouncing from it after a single day of the season being live. This might be the reason for lackluster seasons and slow to ship features, a lack of understanding what the player base wants, what is most important to them, and what is vital to D4 succeeding as an ARPG. After all, the largest advertised feature of this season, the Gauntlet and Leaderboard system, is not present at launch. Instead, a mixture of the worst parts of Path of Exile's Labyrinth and Forbidden Sanctum systems take center stage. Already, absolutely everywhere is already aflame about how poor the new Diablo 4 season is. It sucks. This game should be good. It has all the resources at its disposal. It has the giant name recognition, yet the Titan continues to stumble and fall. However, the resource allocation, pipeline management, and bouncing between teams are not the only mistakes Blizzard are making with Diablo 4. Honestly, these mistakes aren't even the largest ones. Every new expansion or league or season or update in a constantly evolving game like Diablo 4 should contain content types for every type of player. If this isn't the case, a substantial number of player sets will quickly bounce from the patch. We're immediately seeing this with Diablo 4 Season 3, Season of the Construct. Say we have different classes of players in these big games we play. One class is the streamer class. They play these games as their job either on Twitch or via YouTube with videos they create. They bring tons of new players to the game or showcase it to an audience who doesn't play, they just watch. Sometimes they play for a little bit and bounce, other times they play for a while. Another class is the casual player, someone who plays maybe an hour or two per week. This is the real definition of a casual player, my friends. Playing games for 1, 2, or 3 hours per night is not casual. We also have the normal player, which might actually be in the minority for a game like Diablo 4. These people are the ones who play 1 to 3 hours per night and more when they have time off, on weekends, holidays, or other special times of the year. Finally, we have the hardcore group. They don't stream or make content on the game, but they play it a heck of a lot and consume content on said game. Now, you probably thought I explained these multiple groups to outline which ones were satisfied, super meh, or unsatisfied with the latest D4 season. You might be right, or not. Let's see. Back during an amazing GDC talk in 2019 called Designing Path of Exile to be Played Forever, Path of Exile co-founder Chris Wilson outlined what he and the rest of his company believed were necessary for a complete expansion to their live service PvE game, a game that is very similar to Diablo 4. This was a public presentation. It's on YouTube. It has a lot of views. The right one has less, the stolen one has more. Watch the right one. The Diablo 4 developers privately mentioned watching this in preparation for D4's live service release. They did not watch it enough. Here's a screen capture of Chris Wilson looking shocked future companies didn't decide to just copy Triple G's ideas. On this screen are the tenets needed for every league in PoE necessary to please various classes of player: story, combat mechanic, long-term objective, aspirational goals, item rewards, crafting, metagame rebalance, and skills. Believe it or not, every PoE update since their realization that they needed this checklist has included, however small, every one of these line items. They make sure they appeal to every class of player. Diablo 4 does not. Their seasons do not have all the checks. They don't press all the buttons. And when they do press them, they're flaccid. For example, the aspirational goals of Season 3 were supposed to be the Gauntlet, which wasn't released on launch. There's no race to the top, there's no finding out which league starters win out or fail horribly. It comes out soon after release. Now, they do seem to do good on story and cinematics in these seasons, but that's something that lasts a short amount of time. These two things are usually good the first time or the first couple of times someone experiences them, but if they're not laden with the combat mechanics, aspirational goals, or long-term objectives, they fade from memory quite quickly for all classes of player. Ah yes, the player classes. Based on the reaction everywhere to Season of the Construct, no one in the player base enjoys it. Casuals, normal players, hardcore ones, many streamers are already moving on after less than a day of playing. Blizzard are failing on nearly every important front. On the surface, they might look successful. People might get hyped to play, but once they see gameplay or leap into the games themselves, people realize D4 is bad. Again, it leads to awkward alignment of resources. The gameplay is not fun. Perhaps, though, it's because they're saving it all up for something gargantuan, something costly, something that could go for around $100. But before we discuss that fully, I would like to ask, if you are enjoying this video, please give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit the sub notification bell. More content like it is on the way. Thank you for the consideration, and if you do like the video, the support. Alrighty, let's get back to it. Finally, Blizzard seems to be placing all their demon eggs in a single, poorly woven basket. Let's call this the Basket of Hatred. This will be a make or break release for Diablo 4. Nonetheless, it's already poised to leave a sour taste in the mouths of many. Leaked surveys have hinted at the expansion costing upwards of $100, which is 100% going to happen if they include some sort of Ultimate Edition. I'd be surprised if it didn't cost more. However, the real anger stems from the fact that Blizzard might try to sell everything Diablo 4 lacked during its launch and initial seasons in the Basket of Hatred. That darn basket. It's unfortunate that this expansion will likely sell very well. As we've discussed before, the Blizzard paradox is strong. When people see the incredible cinematic for the Basket of Hatred, a huge swath of people will forget about it and instantly buy the expansion, thinking everything will be solved. I'm cynical. If Blizzard wants to fix the mistakes they're making in Diablo 4, they need to learn from the mistakes grinding gear games made a decade ago and in all the years since with Path of Exile. They are games in the same genre. They appeal to all the same player classes. They appeal to the same massive streamers. One is way easier to learn than the other, but it also pumps out far worse content than the other. If Blizzard takes a look at Triple G's checklist released to the public in a game dev convention in 2019, they might be able to salvage Diablo 4. Unfortunately, for many of its avid players, I'm pretty sure Blizzard is going to stick many of the fixes in a $100 Basket of Hatred. This isn't the only time I've compared Diablo 4's mistakes to past Path of Exile ones. This is easily my favorite, in which we go through the history of Diablo and explain why we can compare the two polarizing titles. Go watch it now.